guys? Welcome to another episode of the Real Football Talk. Another brilliant week of football in the Premier League. Adil, how are you?
Yeah, good.
Get to watch many of the games?
Yeah, good to watch yeah, lots of shocks and
I,
interesting
I,
results.
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, the great comeback from Arsenal, and obviously I think it's called the Northwest Derby. Liverpool winning 7-0 against United. I mean, complete shocker considering it was 1-0 at half time. But what was your take on it? Because or just the initial reaction from the 7-0 defeat?
Um, just felt like United capsized in the second half. The late goal from Gakpo in the first half. Clearly, they didn't get over it at half time, even though they should have been encouraged. Even if the scoreline was against them, they should have been encouraged because the first half they played quite well. Their tactics of slowing the game down and not letting Liverpool build momentum was working. And if anything, they had the three or four of the best chances in the half. So, a bit surprising how much they completely capitulated in the second half and completely didn't stick to the formula that, if anything, was working. So I think, yeah, all the old gremlins came back.
Yeah, definitely.
The usual culprits standing around, ball watching, and those old demons came back.
That's what I was gonna say is it brought back a lot of memory to, like, like the Brentford game where it seems like they gave up after a certain time, and that's why it felt like with this game. Um, but like you said, surely for considering the first half going away at Anfield and the way they played, in my view, probably had the best chances of that first half in terms of like the Rashford chance. So it was really surprising how they came out, and obviously then to straight away concede a goal. It's a big blow. But even then, not to just considering the amount of experienced players they have, not to just maybe shut up shop, take a 2-0 or see if we can get something from there, was a complete and utter shock.
Yeah, it just shows there are still leadership issues within the team. Maybe Ten Hag done a bit of a pep in overthinking things. Playing Bruno on the left.
Mm.
Um, Trent really had quite an easy game as a result. And yeah, I just think there was a lot of players who clearly got intimidated once the scoreline, once Liverpool got in, 1-0 up, their belief system just all went, and belief in maybe the system, the tactics, which is surprising again because they did work, even if you could question it. It did work to the so clearly, yeah, the players probably didn't agree with it, and they just decided once 1-0 down to give up and to feel sorry for themselves.
Mm.
And unfortunately, yeah, they had a lot of those players that stand around when the going gets tough and give up on the pitch. So yeah, it's a real bad reaction. And the goals, as good as the finishes were, and the defending, like nearly for all of them, the United retreating to the goal line for nearly every single goal. Um, it's just embarrassing defending. It's ridiculous defending,
Mm.
and they fell for the counterattacks. But you can't have a team running with 5, 6 players out sprinting every single player in the position, and you can't think you're gonna be you're gonna be get away with that. So yeah,
But I mean, what you mentioned is the Salah goal, the first one where he hits it off the crossbar, is a perfect example because it was a United corner, and Salah just outsprints Anthony, who was just jogging back to the halfway line, is a prime example. You know,
it's the same for the second goal and the third goal.
Yeah, it's just
third goal was United corner as well. I think it was a lot of them, a lot of the goals is just simply the two issues: United players leaving their man and trying to gamble on nicking the ball when there's already a player on them. You look at nearly every single one of the goals. It's someone picking up the wrong player. First goal even. Why is Dallo picking up Robertson? Yeah. Where is Anthony?
Why is Fred almost
the right back? To pick up, yeah, so it's they lost their shape, they lost their discipline, and the thing is, this is what happened against Arsenal when they lost to Arsenal. I mean, that second half is positive one half. Second half, they completely capitulated. So, and they did similar things like second half against even though it was 2-2 at the time, was it 2-2? I think they lost 2-2 at the end against Arsenal. What was the score at the end?
I can't remember. I think 3-1. I think it was.
Oh, 3-1. Yeah. But either when they were in the game, Anthony just wasn't tracking back, and Zinchenko and Martinelli and everyone was just overloading that side. Same thing. People just weren't running back. You got Fred, who does these long bursting runs, but as soon as he's losing, he just stands and watches. It's weird that he only puts a shift in when the team's winning or drawing. He'll do long bursting, last ditch tackles, blocks, fist pumps. And as soon as the team's losing, he just stands around. Anthony stands around. Fernandez standing around.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Don't you think
standing around?
Don't you think it's a lot coming from Fernandez also, because he's the captain of the team and he's doing it a lot. Like, there was one point, I think in the 80th minute, it looked like he wanted to get subbed off. You're the captain.
Yeah,
Come on, man. You're meant to stand up for it. And
I like the fact that Ten Hag embarrassed them by keeping those soft players on the pitch and taking off the leaders, because you could tell United was struggling anyway, because Casemiro just looked like he's kind of knock in that first half. He's playing within himself, and he just physically did not look right. Even Varane did not physically look right. They just look like, Varane looked like he's not fully ready. I've seen him even under Rangnick, similar performances where he comes back from niggling injuries too soon and he's just all over the place. And Casemiro just looked really leggy, looked like he's kind of knocked, which is normal. I mean, most of these players are always playing with slight knock and everything, but he just felt like the makeup of the team was wrong. There was it was back to the days where there just wasn't enough legs and heart in the team, and definitely Ten Hag got the balance wrong of the lineup.
I mean, but in terms of Ten Hag, and I think personally, like in the long term, I think he might also do well, because he can use this as to say, you don't follow my instruction, you don't follow what I say, this is what's going to happen. You're going to get embarrassed. And he can turn this around into probably put a positive spin on it and really full on get the buy-in. Because like you said previously, you said they obviously didn't want to follow the instruction and do their own thing after it was 1-0. So,
yeah, I just think they lost their heads. You could go back to most of the goals. People leave their man to gamble on trying to nick the ball back. When already a player is on them, if you just stay on your man, you're cutting out the pass. So just really disappointed in that. But again, we said it last week, I think, that I don't think this is Ten Hag's team. I think Ten Hag would move on from many of the players, and that's what's made how well United are doing this season even more impressive. And you can just tell a lot of those players, we've criticized them last year. A lot of those players are the ones starting this, today. You got the Dallos, you got the Freds, you got Fernandez, you got a lot of guys who don't put a shift in,
But I mean, let's switch our attention to the counterpart. Liverpool. I mean, what a victory! This is the first time since 1931 Man United have lost by this 7-0 goal difference. Really, I think it was against Wolves 1931. So, what do you make of them? I mean, what a performance from them in the second half.
Yeah, they did. I mean, I thought Liverpool do what they do. They play their football no matter what, whether it's working or not. They will attack. They will try and play at 100 miles per hour. They will try to score goals. Then they try to attack you fast and quick, and they did that. And they were committed. They were committed, and
What then was it a day that everything went for them? Then is that what it seems like?
It's that second half definitely, because if you even look at the last, let's say, the last 3 goals. I mean, they're all going through like a whole load of players and still manage to find the net. But certainly, I would say the first 4 goals, they were quality goals, quality finishes. And then the last few were just, players giving up and it's completely capsizing. But yeah, at the end of the day, they brought the A game, they brought the intensity. I thought they were quite cute, they were quite clever. They were playing for fouls. A lot of the times it looked like the fouls were worse, but actually every single one, the Liverpool players were bracing themselves and playing for it before the foul actually happened, which just shows they were clued up. They're one step ahead, and I just think, it's a game too far for United. Ultimately, the amount of games they have played, it was going to cost them. I think that's part of the reason why they're doing such delay tactics in the first half anyway. And all those tactics go out the window once Liverpool takes the lead, because suddenly, from preparing a mindset of delaying and wasting time and not letting Liverpool build up momentum and that play with pace, suddenly they went up and you have to change your mindset, and maybe that's what caused the problem. It's just too much for them. But full credit to Liverpool. I think obviously the result will do wonders, but I just think the goals and the players who scored them is gonna in the long term be good for them, because Gakpo will now really feel like he can play that false 9 position a lot more. I actually thought he was poor in the first half until the goal. It felt like they were minus a player. He's just soft, poor, playing a lot like the United players did in the second half. But that goal and then the second half is electric. The second half is just pressing and picking on every mistake and cleverly, playing, winning fouls. But that goal definitely changed his momentum in the game, because for the first 40 minutes he was non-existent until
he gave him belief, isn't it? Because you can see it even from the second goal, the finish. I mean,
what a quality finish! I mean,
acute angle.
I don't think any other finish would have beaten De Gea. He really covered the goal quite well, but Gakpo was one step ahead again, just more smarter, and that's just pure class.
But yeah, like you said, in the long term, that for Nunes and also for Gakpo, it'll give them that belief that, you know what, they do belong in the Premier League, they do belong in this team.
And them three as the three, that'll give them confidence in each other that they can, they can be lethal, they can be ruthless, and they can take Liverpool towards their ambitions of winning trophies.
Does it send out a message to all the other top 4 contenders in terms of like Tottenham, Newcastle? You could probably put Brighton in there as well, because Liverpool are right in there. They got one less game from Tottenham with 42 points. So if they win the game in hand, they're level on points with Tottenham.
Yeah, I just think it's more for what it does for Liverpool. The confidence is going to give them. Momentum is everything. They got the momentum. I'm still not convinced by it. I do think they'll still drop points, but at the end of the day, the teams around them seem to be struggling more. So as long as they continue with that positive at all costs, going for goals and trying to get goals. They will win more than they lose, and because of the attacking quality that they have. So, yeah, definitely momentum shift. I'm not sure how much it makes a difference to. I think more it makes a difference to Liverpool. I mean, to beat
Yeah,
your arch rivals, a big game.
and turn up.
In
Yeah,
7-0 at home, that's going to boost. And I think it was important, especially after they lost 5-2 to Real Madrid.
Real Madrid.
The last big game at home. It just will definitely just rebuild their confidence in terms of playing the big boys at home. So
Well, I mean, they got another big tie coming up against Madrid, so this will give them belief that surely, they can go out there and score the goals that's
yeah,
needed.
yeah,
Um,
and I think that's what it is. It's more what it's given to Liverpool, definitely, and those players, especially Gakpo and Nunes.
mhm. But I mean, even if you look at, I mean, it looked quite bad before, but if you look at I think their last four, I think they haven't conceded a goal. Out of the last five Premier League fixtures, they've drawn one and won four. So, yeah, definitely the momentum is in the right direction for them, and the trajectory is there for them as well. So it's I would say it's worrying time for teams like Tottenham, Newcastle, for them really, because they could potentially lose out their top four chance or chance of Champions League.
Yeah, well, I think it's worrying for them anyway because those teams are losing and dropping points regularly, and
Mm.
they seem to lose their confidence. So, yeah, you'd expect a team to punish you if you keep losing as many points as that, and especially this Liverpool team, which everyone was saying hasn't turned bad overnight, but um, they have it's a bit like City where they got chinks in their armor and they're not. We've become used to the excellence of them just
Yeah.
completely dominating game from beginning to end, and it's just not like that anymore. Even though today they fully deserve their
Second
win.
half. Yeah, second half.
Yeah, um, definitely three good chances United had, and many more if Anthony had the end product to him. His crosses, everything was just terrible. Even at the start of the beginning of the second half, there was a counter attack where he just got to cross the ball in for Rashford. And he held on, held on, held on. Then by the time he crossed it, Konate had got back, and it's
But do you reckon? Do you know? I was thinking. Obviously with Konate playing, I was thinking maybe Ten Hag goes with Rashford on the left to exploit Trent rather than obviously pin him up against Konate, who's far strong as well. So, do you think that's they've missed a trick there? Obviously putting Fernandez there, then that doesn't expose what Trent does really. Because if Rashford's there, then Trent's got to worry, and Rashford's in hot form.
I think they whatever they wanted to do, we will never know if Rashford would have given Trent more of a hard time or not. But I can't say, especially on the first half performance, that uh, whatever the idea was, which I think is more around playing Bruno there so that Bruno can actually play the ball in behind, and Rashford could run onto it, knowing I think they were more focused on exposing Liverpool's high line rather than exposing any individual weakness of any any defender. So
Mm.
it did work to a point, but we'll never know whether if they just played Rashford on the left or if whether they would have worked even better. So whatever he tried doing, it wasn't a complete failure until the second half, but
Mm. I mean,
definitely affected the belief of the players.
what does this mean for United though? Are they going forward? Better at the office, or is there long term implication? Do you reckon?
I just think it's another chink, and it's just another reminder. It'll humble them. They've been getting a lot of praise. They've been celebrating a lot, and kind of they've been hanging in for the last few games. I mean, they've been winning on mentality, and eventually that catches up with you. So, obviously, you never wish it to be against Liverpool at Anfield, but this is a game where going 1-0 down just seems to have just push them over the edge,
Yeah.
and they just had no comeback in them, no more mentality to fight back. And the old Fernandez came out, so just kind of shows you that backing or that trust with the manager wasn't there after the decisions he's made.
Yeah, no, definitely. Let's move on. I do to Arsenal, who went behind after what 11 second. I think it's the second fastest goal in the Premier League after Shane Long's 7-second goal by Philip Billing. What did you make of them? I mean, 97th minute winner, comeback.
Thought it's we know what you're gonna get from Arsenal. They're gonna attack. They're gonna go for it. They're gonna throw numbers. I just think the previous weeks where we've criticized Arteta's subs, what you can see is he's analysed and learned from it, because he's doing things different, and he's not just replacing like for like. He is actually changing the system, getting extra attackers on, and taking more risk. And so I just think, it was a real positive for Arteta, because really the game was won by the changes he made. Bringing White on early, taking Smith Rowe off for Nelson had huge impact on the result. And I just think, good win, good for the belief again. I'm still have, I know everyone thinks, okay, this is it now, but I'm still not sure, because of the fact that you have to put it into context. Bournemouth have lost a number of games where they've been 2-0 up, 1-0 up, 3-0 up even, and ended up losing the game quite a few times this season. This is a team that just doesn't know how to sit off. As soon as they take a lead and they sit off, they could become completely passive. So it was good. Yeah, Arsenal took them to the sword, but quite a few other teams have done the same thing to this Bournemouth team. So still got to keep it in context that against teams that press well, attack, play well, it is the nervousness fully gone. I'm not sure of the title running, because definitely Bournemouth had quite a few good chances until they got the second goal. Their counter-attacks were quite good, and it was causing Arsenal problems.
Do you reckon there's a problem at home at the moment where they haven't got the full balance? Because it seems like, and I think I mentioned the last week's podcast, I do, they seem to be leaking a lot of goals at home. And I think where maybe they get slightly carried away, or maybe that balance of between being a bit more aggressive and a bit more positive in their play is wrong at the moment.
I think everything they're doing is right, in the sense that, they might be, you're right, it probably is the reason why they're conceding, but I think for Arsenal, and Arteta recognizes it, and maybe the fans will, should recognize it too, that maybe not playing gun-ho and all-out attack is just going to allow them to become nervous, and they're going to lose more. So Arteta, in protecting a young team, protecting a team that maybe doesn't have the know-how of how to do gameplay and tactical and strategy and win a game like that, he's making them over-aggressive and more attacking, because he's seen it as the best way to overcome the nerves. And it is to go gun-ho, is to over-attack, is to stick to what you're good at, and hope that that. And many other teams, when they're going for their first title or win, they do the same approach.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's still the key fixtures are in April. I think that game against Liverpool, against West Ham away, because they got them all in a row, and then Man City and obviously Chelsea. I think those, and then straight after the Newcastle. Those are the games that's going to be the defining moment. So until then, if they can keep
But
this
the thing is,
somehow winning, it'll be good.
as long as they keep the gap,
Yeah, that's what I mean. Keep
because
winning.
we said it quite a few times this season. I can see Arsenal choking if it's 1-2 points.
Mm.
But as long as there's a gap, I think they'll be fine. Simply because I don't think there's a team that's going to win back to back all the way through. City will still drop points. I just don't see them turning out win after win after win to put that level of pressure. I still think they'll drop points. Now, every time they drop points, if Arsenal keep winning and keeping the gap safe, then the pressure never really fully hits. Because they can afford a slump and they know they still got a gap. So, yeah, definitely that's the test, but I don't think they have anything to be afraid of because every big game this season they've outplayed. Even if they've lost, they've outplayed in every they've been a better team in every top 6 games. So I don't think it's something that should fear them.
Bear in mind also most of them been at home, so
yeah, but even away, I mean, they are looking to dominate the game. So
I mean, obviously talking of City, great win against Newcastle. Seemed like a Champions performance from them, really. From what I saw, really professional. There was moments of hiccups, you could say, pretty much. I mean, that Joe Linton chance before Bernardo Silva scores that second goal could have changed the game, but
there's loads of chances. I mean, Wilson, there were other chances. I mean, I thought Newcastle really showed their fight. They really showed that they're not really, they're not going. If they lost 2-0, but they would have left that pitch confident. They would have gained something from that loss because they really did take the game to City, and City did struggle. And the difference is the end product. Foden was able to go past 4-5 players and score goals. And then Bernardo comes on, presses, and straight away causes a mistake, and then gets on the end of and there's a good finish again, and that level, that end product quality is what the difference is, because between the boxes, definitely Newcastle kept the ball, beat the press quite a few times, and they attacked well. So yeah, I mean, it looks like it was a comfortable 2-0. I thought Newcastle made City work hard.
But I did the reason why I say it might be a bit of a concern, because if you look at it in the last 5 games, they haven't won a single game, Newcastle. And I think I haven't got the stat in front of me. Sorry, they haven't scored many goals either. So it seems to be a real issue for them at the moment that they can't score or get the game over.
I think part of the problem is they've got is Maximin coming back in, because when Joe Linton was playing, they were playing a lot faster and slightly more direct, but that was creating chances. That was, and now with St. Maximin, everything's a lot slower once it goes there. So I think that is affecting them. But the previous games they lost points. They weren't convincing performances. They were average. This one was a good performance. It felt like the Newcastle United that had been doing well. It felt like they had turned the corner in terms of performance. So I think they're not going to go with that fighting for that top 4. I think they're going to.
I mean, it's not all.
And the difference is Guimaraes again. I mean, when he's on that pitch, he really brings a lot of quality and product quality and better decision making on that pitch. So.
No, that's what I was going to say. It's not all doom and gloom, because they still got 2 games in hand on Tottenham. So if they win the 2 games in hand, they go above Tottenham on 47 points. So it's still right in there in the mix for them.
Yeah, but it's only because Tottenham lost. Really, they gave it away. So if they didn't, if Tottenham didn't lose, it would be saying it differently. So
we
they
love
have
Tottenham,
choked. they have given they did give the initiative to Tottenham. Now they've got it back.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, let's move on. Let's move on to Chelsea. I do. Finally, Graham Potter gets some pressure off his shoulder. Wesley Fofana scoring his first goal for Chelsea. Good win.
yeah, good win. Again, good performance. They started off really fast, started off really well. And then, again, you know, Havertz had a couple of really good chances, just fluffed it line. You're, you're not a striker if you're looking to dink the ball over the keeper. I mean, put your foot through it, you clean through, take a shot. It's like a dribble because he wants to dink, the keeper and things like that. It's like,
Yeah,
look,
but he's
right,
not. Let's be honest, he's not a striker though, is he? So he'll play.
Yeah, but he's getting those chances. They're falling to him. I thought the performance is the most important thing. They had a bit of bite about them. They played with intensity. They played a lot faster, and the biggest difference was they were passing to each other. It was whoever was free, they just passed it to them. None of this holding on, trying to be as even Felix was just playing it off, and but Sterling played really well, and the combinations were quite good because they're all looking for each other.
Felix had an amazing shot off the bar. Oof, if that went in, because that was brilliant play again.
Yeah, and so in the first half, I thought they played quite well. Second half, they were nervous and they were holding on. And definitely they're defending for their lives, at times. But yeah, they have.
Do you know what I don't get is obviously Felix I reckon is a much better finisher than obviously Havertz. So why not maybe push him up further and play Havertz a bit deeper? Because he'll be able to finish those chances. Is far more composed and he's got a better striking.
Or drop Havertz for Aubameyang.
Yeah.
But I just think Felix's best position is the 10, and he is performing well there. So he's not necessarily gonna get the chances that he is if he's in the 9 because he's marked. His biggest best traits is his movement and his intelligence. Now, if you restrict that by trying to make him the focal point, then you don't get the best Felix. So I think it's more a question of whether Havertz should be the striker, or do they have better players? Because as intelligent and nice he is in the build-up play, at the end of the day, you need someone who's going to finish with the chances away.
Yeah, and you've got a lethal striker in Aubameyang in the bench, so surely you put him on, he'll take one of those chances. And as soon as he gets confidence back, it'll be a different ballgame.
I just have a feeling Aubameyang would get loads of goals with Enzo Fernandez and Felix behind him, because they do so much of the work in front of the play. A lot of the time, they're just looking for that guy looking to run in behind and finish the thing. So
is this something for them to build on? Obviously, they're 1-0 down against Dortmund coming in the Champions League. Surely this result must give them a lot of confidence and a stepping stone for them to go forward.
I don't know if it gives them a lot of confidence because they were holding on in that second half. Even if it's just you can see the nerves are still there. So I think if they had won it comfortably, that would give them a lot of confidence. But it still takes the pressure off the fact that they didn't lose. If they lost, it just adds to the pressure. So it will be a relief. That's the bare minimum they needed. That's what they got. I still think they're a bit of a nervous team, but they should be confident. I mean, they outplayed Dortmund in the first leg. Should have been well ahead. I think being at home, I think they should be confident.
Do you think maybe the biggest concern would be for them is the fact that Thiago Silva might be missing for a little while?
Well, looks like maybe Potter's compensated for that by going to a wing back system, back to three at the back,
Through the back,
which he
okay.
had stopped. So I thought Fofana looked really good. Even Koulibaly looked good in the centre. Badiashile, they did look solid. It's just how far they
I mean,
retreated.
more in the leadership sense, because that team seems like it does lack a bit of leadership.
Um, maybe. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm sure. Thiago Silva in terms of organising is a huge loss. But they brought Kovacic back in with a bit more experience. So
Mm.
maybe, yeah. I mean, that's something to keep an eye out on. That will be interesting. Who organizes and leads the team, and moving forward, that's going to be the thing anyway.
Mm.
Because they're taking a lot of characters out the team that might say stuff and organize things and lead by example. So they're taking a lot of those players out the lineup.
In terms of Chelsea, what would be their best hope? What, finish as high as possible and potentially go far in the Champions League for this year?
I just think for them this year is just to get back into Europe, and get
Can they? I
get
mean,
positive. Yeah, of course they can. I don't think again, teams are dropping points and the league is tough and it's competitive. So I don't think there's other than Arsenal, every team's dropping points.
mm. let's
So yeah, they can definitely get to Europe.
mm. let's move on. Obviously, another team that dropped points, Tottenham, a 1-0 loss there. Wolverhampton. I mean, first half Tottenham looked really good, but second half capitulated.
Yeah,
And Wolves looked like the better team in the second half.
roles reversed.
Yeah,
The team that
literally.
always starts slow decided to start fast and they ended up losing.
Is this why they don't do it?
Yeah, so this is the problem. They still only have 45 minutes in them to really push and play at a high tempo. So yeah, they started off fast. They played really good. I mean, Wolves were abject. They're nowhere to be seen. They're totally lost in that first half.
Mm.
And this is the thing. Lot of not a lot, but Wolves have got an experienced manager who has managed at a high level and is very good with the tactics. And he made two halftime changes that changed the dynamics of the game, changed the shape of the team, and straight away in the second half they were front foot. They were the team dominating the game, and by the end deserved the win because they were playing that much better in the second half.
No. But I mean, for Tottenham, I mean, the pressure for Conte out it seems like building, because I see a lot of comments about the Tottenham from the Tottenham supporters, and they want Conte out because they went out in the week against Sheffield United, which probably was the only competition they could have potentially gone on and won, but they're out of that now, and then again now they put pressure back on themselves because they allowed more teams to gain hope in terms of the top four race.
I think it's harsh because he's not even there.
Mm.
He's only coming back. Well, this week he's coming back and taking over the team again. So I think it's harsh to be like that. And I think, yeah, I mean, maybe at the end of the season, if they don't get the top four, that would make sense. I would understand.
You know,
That
everything
sentiment.
seems like at that route. It seems like, you know what, Conte's heading out, probably going to like Inter Milan or something, and oh sorry, Juventus, I think it was. And it seems like Tottenham probably going to move on from him. That's the route it seems like he's heading towards.
Thing is, there's not many teams that have the money and can give the support Conte wants. Certainly not in the Italian league.
Mm.
Juventus can't give that right now. They don't know what fines and what sanctions they're
Yeah.
going to get. So, yeah, I'm not sure which team will satisfy what Conte really wants.
Is this the best team for him then at the moment? Because they are willing to give him money. They are spending some money. So
I'm not.
oh,
I don't think. I don't think it's particularly a good fit because they still want to invest in young players and build them up. And Conte wants the finished article. He wants people that have got character, who are, experienced, and generally, uh, take a lot more wages and cost you more because of the fact that they have no resale value. And that's how he did it at Inter. He's done it before previously. He likes experienced, seasoned professionals. So I'm not sure if it's the right fit.
See, but then it seems like a clash, right? Surely Levy knew who he's bringing into the club, so
Yeah, but I think Levy thought just giving money would be enough, but then they're giving money but still sticking to a certain profile of players that doesn't fit in with what the manager wants. The manager wants experience, characters, leaders. He's buying players like Vidal and Alexis Sanchez at Inter Milan. They're past their best, but they bring. He knows how to get
the best out of them.
The best out of those type of players. So definitely, they're at a crossroads again, simply because they got this amazing structure. They've got a lot of money now, but they're still choosing to be a club that buys talent cheap and builds them up rather than spend a lot of money on wages.
But does this mean I mean, if Conte leaves, does this mean the end of the road for Harry Kane? Do you think he will move on then? Because there's loads of rumors coming out that at the end of this season he'll be moving on.
Well, those rumors will always be there because he'll only have 12 months left.
Yeah.
Obviously, again, it's going to come down to who they bring in, and if Conte does move on because his contract's out until the end of the year, so it all depends on who they bring in. If they brought Zidane, or Tuchel, is Kane going to leave? So I think a lot depends on that, but I don't know. I don't think things are going to change that much at Tottenham. Because if they're not supporting Conte, then there's no chance. Because Conte is as single-minded as they can get, and even if he can't win the battle with Levy, and the way the club is set up, then no one can.
It seems like issues for Tottenham, because I mean, even in the game, I mean, they didn't bring on Richarlison until the 80th minute. They had Danjuma on the bench. I mean, Son wasn't pulling up trees, but they weren't willing to make the changes.
Yeah, I just think they ran out of ideas, isn't it? It's a bit like today's game. Just Wolves were so much more superior in the second half. And they never really came back into it. They never really were able to build up any pressure.
No, therefore. I mean, it brings in interestingly because obviously, and ties in properly with probably Brighton, because who won 4-0 at home against West Ham, have 3 games in hand with Tottenham. If they win all 3, they got 2 points clear of Tottenham. And it brings them into the game. I mean, and they continue to perform really well under De Zerbi.
Yeah, they're a team that is fully in sync with their identity, with what they're trying to do, how they're trying to play, and I mean, we've seen them cut open the top 6 teams. So as an attacking force, they are really good. And defensively, they're getting better. The players are getting better to the demands. If you've seen the games they've lost against the bigger teams, it's been individual errors at the back or losing the ball in the wrong areas, cost them the goals. But in terms of gameplay and playing, they're a match for anyone. And they look very strong. And the team, I think the 3 games they have in hand are all against teams that are lower than them. So
yeah.
So they have it's not against the top six. So I do think they're a threat. I don't believe they'll really challenge for the Champions League simply because of the fact that they don't have a good striker, a finisher. But
what about, I mean, European position? Even an European position for someone like Brighton, it's massive.
Definitely, and it would go in well with the progress of the club, and they keep signing excellent young talent. Their scouting is second to none. The deals with agents and people around the world is excellent. I mean, they got Buonatti, who looks like another excellent player. They got loads of players. Even Enkiso was very highly rated. They're very good at buying players and then keeping them at the limelight, not necessarily playing them, but building them up. And then suddenly, when they burst into the scene, they just look like it just looks like another masterstroke signing.
I mean, they've confirmed the sign, or they've got Moses Caicedo to sign another contract. So that's a great positive coming into the weekend. And then obviously the performance showed for it. I mean, it could have been 6-7-0, to be honest. Like that's how poor West Ham were. Considering obviously winning 4-0 last week, I mean, what does this mean for West Ham? I mean, Moyes gonna get the sack because that's what it feels like at the moment. He just can't get it right.
Yeah, I just think they're a team that they're a bit like not in terms of issues, but in terms of for their system to work, they need to score first. A bit like Arsenal in that sense, where if they score first, they accelerate. And I think because West Ham like to play on the counter so much, the key is always down to whether they're able to get the first goal. And a lot of these games, they play well up until they concede. As soon as they concede, that's it. They lose quite comfortably. So I just feel like, at the 4-0, they got the goal eventually early, and then they were able to really play on the counter and expose. Can't remember who they played. Wolves, I think it was. Whoever it was.
Oh, so last week it was Nottingham Forest.
Nottingham Forest, that's it. So I just think, West Ham's problem is they don't have no belief or identity on the ball when they go behind. They just don't have the confidence to create something.
I mean, that relegation battle from 12th place to 20th, I think it's really tight. 6 points separates them. And considering a lot of the relegation teams, like for instance, Southampton and Everton all picking up points, it just squeezes the gap even more. Yeah,
and it's definitely a bottom 12 and a top 8 league.
You could say, yeah. There's a bit of a gap from 12th to 11th. So yeah, I think the bottom 8, it's definitely, there's a cause for concern because any of them could go down. A string of 2 bad results could pull them right into the mix of being 19th or 18th. So yeah, it's crazy. Looking interesting though. Adil, thank you as always for today. And we look forward to seeing you soon. And for those of you watching, thank you for watching. Make sure you please like, share, subscribe, and let us know your thoughts and views. Thank you.